All right, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's the little past 8 o'clock Eastern on February 9th. It's going to be the meeting, and as you can see, we've got our new logo, nice and proud there on the first slide. So thanks again to Lucas and his wife for all their hard work. For the board meeting, again, we're now in order. Correspondence, we don't have any. I've been trying to send a bunch of stuff out to John Sage with no luck, as usual. So we're going to keep beating that drum until we get a hold of somebody. We're going to reach out tomorrow to, what is it, O'Neill, who's the oil and gas guy, and then probably to Jimmy Hinch, if that would work out. We'll go through President's report, then go through Secretary Treasurer's report, quick run through stuff, but main meat's going to be the new business with nominations for the executive board, dues, and then we're going to do just a couple general topics, a question and answer. So normal stuff. If anybody has any questions, there's nobody new here really. Obviously, this is being recorded for YouTube. It's also how we do our minutes, so people can't make it for whatever reason. Like Chris, he's on a flight, so he can't make it, but you can pass that along and use that for our minutes as well. So biggest thing, we finally got the amendments to the Constitution bylaws approved by Richard Lanigan Friday afternoon. So I know it took a lot longer than everybody wanted, myself included, but that's bureaucracy, and that's the kind of world we live in, unfortunately. But was approved, no changes or anything else that came from them. We got a lot of help from Sandy Pope, kind of pushing that through for us, and Paul Bolesky. There were some issues that were going through during a review of the language we put in that we should look at in the future. Some minor things, but essentially just to bring it up to kind of standard, since this is an older version of Constitution and bylaws that we've changed. Like, oh, there's some new stuff that comes, some guidelines from the National Labor Relations Board, and they're like, next time you do some changes, we'll kind of go over a little more thoroughly, just so we've got they can get this stuff done, so we can lower the dues and move forward with our key things. Next steps, obviously, we've got to fill the vacancies in the board. We can do that with appointments based on the Constitution change we did. I haven't heard a lot of resounding volunteering from the masses on who wants to get involved, so I don't think we need to do any elections. If there's torches in the street and there's protests and people want to have elections, we'll have more elections, but obviously now we've got the electronic version, so we can do that as well, so it's a lot cheaper, which you'll see how much it costs us. I think it was like $530 something to run the last vote just to do the amendments. So the new one should be much cheaper and faster as well. Again, we're going to discuss lowering the dues and talk about the different options we have there once we get everybody sworn in for the board. And then the rebranding, again, Lucas, almost complete. The meat's done, but there's some other small ancillary stuff like banners and business cards and all the other deliverables they have to get to us that are fairly minor. And I sent that to you, Lucas. Soon be forward that to Scott. So if you're not aware, this is what we've got. This is what everything looks like. If you haven't seen the PDF, that's been on Facebook or got mailed out, but pretty good, pretty happy with it. Again, if we want to change it in the future, we can always change it in the future, but I'm pretty happy with it the way it is. So we're going to have, you can see there the Facebook in the lower right. They're going to build a couple of templates for us for Facebook and for LinkedIn for the groups we've got there. And that'll just, again, part of that branding process. And everything else you can see there. If there's no questions on that, we'll move on. Secretary Treasurer's report. You want to do this, Ryan? I know you love to talk.
Yeah, just love to do it. All right, so Care Flight stayed at 12 guys. We have 72 members total, which gives us 60 out of oil and gas and air medical.
I shouldn't say 16 additional. Yeah, no, we had 0 additional this month. We actually had one guy that didn't make it for January. So sorry, that's a typo on my part.
Yeah, and there's actually 4 more that are in the process. They've sent in their application, and so they'll be on next month.
Perfect.
For oil and gas.
Nice.
And just a quick rundown on the numbers. There's 363 on the air medical, 193 on oil and gas. Puts about 11% membership rate. Air Medical obviously been down at about 4, oil and gas 23. And of course, we need 50+1 to get it self-help. So.
Currently at 60, so.
Right, the bank account balance right now is at 142,000. Last month's income was we had 2 pay periods, puts at 5,600. And last month's expenses were about 2,700. So the $700 is still the same recurring fees. The about 1,470 goes to national every month. That's the by member dues, and then the educational, and then the strike fund. And then we also paid out the check that Gordon mentioned for the $542 for all the costs for the voting for the amendment changes.
Any questions, comments, concerns on the financial side? All right. New business. Obviously, we need to do the appointments for the executive board. It's going to be a vice president and 4 trustees. I'll talk about dues. I'm going to go over kind of the costs, kind of break it down so everybody understands kind of where it's at, and then some of the different options. So right now we've got a quorum with the old board. So we're kind of this weird transition between the old board having to fill it. So Ryan and I constitute a quorum for the old board. So unless we have any objections, Brian and I will act as the executive board and vote for any nominations for those positions. Starting out, vice president. Any nominations?
Scott Clancy.
All right.
Second.
So, Lucas Winslow, we have a second. So vote. Ryan, aye.
All right.
Aye. All right. Stands. Congratulations, Mr. Vice President. All right.
Yay.
Trustees, nominations. Sean Connolly has volunteered.
Excellent.
So I'd like to nominate him. Any seconds?
Second.
Second, Sean.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And the vote? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Passes. Second trustee, Wade Dansby, volunteered. He said he would be willing to do it if you're still willing. Actually, I should ask if you accept the nomination, not really just railroading you. So
Absolutely. I sure do.
all right. So nominate Wade Dansby for our second trustee. Any seconds?
Second, Wade.
All right. And the vote? Aye. All right. Congratulations, Wade.
Thank you.
All right. Third. We got 2 more to go. This is going fast. That's what I like to see. All right. Any nominations for a third? Anyone? Crickets?
We throwing out John Seavey.
John Seavey. All right. I second. All right. Do you accept the nomination, John?
He accepts the nomination.
All right. Vote aye. Ryan?
Aye.
Passes. That's 3. All right. 1 more. Any nominations? Where's Jake Milligan? Where the hell is he?
Right here, what?
Oh, I nominate Jake Milligan for trustee.
Oh, God.
Do I have a second?
Second that.
Was that? Did I hear a second?
You did hear a second. I second.
All right.
Thanks, Wade.
Will you accept the nomination?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Thanks,
Voting? Aye. Ryan?
Aye.
All right. Passes. All right. Congratulations, everyone. All right. We'll move on to the swearing in. So if you look at your screens, I've put this oath of office in here for you. So all I need you to do is read through it. In the blank part, say your name, and then we'll go from there. 3, 2, 1, and scene.
I, Jonathan Seavey, do solemnly
Sean
pledge my
Conley,
word
do
and honor before these witnesses that I will, to the best of my abilities, perform the duties of my office. At the close of my official term, I will turn over to my successor all books, records, and all other properties, including funds of this local union that may be in my possession. I will also deliver all such properties to the International Union upon lawful demand. I will at all times devote my efforts to further the objectives and best interests of my union.
John Seavey kind of overcame the microphone there. Did everybody else say the same thing?
Sure did.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. Does anybody feel the need to do one individually or by themselves?
Nope.
All right, for the sake of
Nope.
posterity and the
Not
University
unless
of
you want
YouTube.
us to.
No, I have no need. If you feel sworn in, I feel you're sworn in. All right, moving on. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. Some dues. So just a quick rundown. Cost per member, it's about $16 per pay period. Ends up being about $32 a month-ish, just short of $400 per year per person. Average cost per month is about $28.68. We're currently paying $25.51-ish per pay period in dues. That obviously flexes a little bit based on number of pay periods in the month, or not pay periods, but the number of people we have, one or two people retiring, joining, things like that, and then where they're from. Currently set at 1% of base pay. The breakdown, every single person is $13.57. Goes in the per capita fund. Strike benefits $2.40 for every person, and then between 45 cents and $2 goes to the state federation. So you Idaho guys are killing us with your $2 a month, but I think Puerto Rico is 45 cents. So Eric Roche, I don't even know if he's in the union. I don't think he is. Well, yeah, he's got to be, because he's the only person that's from Puerto Rico that I know of. Pro rata share of the educational conference and convention, which together is $250, and then the office manager website, it's right about $700. So we all kind of split that, however many people we have, of that $950. Everything else is pretty much fixed. So it's about $16 to $17 per person per pay period. So actually that's per month, but it breaks down to about $16 per pay period. So any questions on that, on how the dues or what we're paying? So there's not $1,000 a month going to the DNC or the DCCC or the RNC or anybody else or whoever is concerned that it's going to massive amounts of our money going to political party of your choice.
So what's the minimum percentage required to cover all expenses based on current membership?
Based on current membership, Ryan came up with about 0.67, so about 2/3%. That would be every person would be paying the minimum, or every person would be paying at least the minimum. So like the lowest paid AS1 would be covering their expenses at 0.67.
Would that still be putting cash flow positive?
Yeah, it would be, because you've got the
Barely.
yeah. I mean, it's not huge. Like right now, we're bringing in a pretty good amount at 1%, but you're talking about bringing in a third less. So it's going to be.
It would basically all go away as soon as we came up with any kind of bills. So like finishing the payouts for the logo or anything like that. When we go to arbitration or anything like that, it'll all get wiped. It basically just covers the month to month of recurring fees.
Okay.
So, and that's if we do just a straight percentage. So just some of the options, if you saw the Facebook post or the email, this is probably old news to you, but we can do a straight percentage, continue with that. We can do a 75%, or 3/4, a 2/3, or a half. The half means that the guys that are at the bottom are paying less than what it would cost you, and I put it in there. So at 1%, an AS1 is paying $25 a pay period. At 75, it's $19.67. At 2/3, it's $17, and then at half, it's $13. So every new guy that shows up, if he's an AS1, he's costing us $3 a pay period. DS25, you can see where that is. 1%, they're currently paying $55. That's, obviously topped out heavy ship pilot. $55 for that 1%, all the way down to $20 at a 0.5%. So there's also the option of doing a flat fee, similar to what CareFlight does. Whether that's $25 or $30 or whatever it is, as you can see, kind of based on an AS1's paying $25 at 1% right now, but then a DS25 is essentially getting their dues cut in half. So
I agree with Dave Williams that wouldn't really be fair to our new members.
yeah, I agree. I mean, you're going to run those guys off, or they're gonna be like, I'm just going to sit back and see what happens. And then 20 years goes by, and like, why should I join? So there's a flat fee. There's the schedule fee that kind of came up. And again, these are just suggestions. These aren't like concrete numbers, but again, like if you're an AS one, you're $20, or if you're an AS at all, it's $20 a pay period. An SIC pays 25, medium PIC is 30, and then heavy's 35.
So remind me for the conversation here.
Mm-hmm.
We have to apply the same fee schedule to everybody. In other words, would there be a possibility of having a introductory rate or something like that to entice new people to join?
Yes, please. I second that.
Biggest issue is what are they? I mean, there's always the potential of doing something like that, but for how long? Just a year because we're going to be eating those fees. So you're talking.
Yeah. So I guess the fork in the road here, the question is, if we don't make efforts to get people on board with this kind of action, yes, we are effectively looking at a stagnation of our funds. But if we can't get anybody on board,
right,
where are we going?
Yeah. Sure.
So, it would not be a forever thing or a long-term thing, but something as far as like a ramped up fee schedule or an introductory rate or something like that. Was the name of the game here is to get that 50% plus one, right? We're not trying to get the fund up to X dollars with X people. Sorry.
Yep, a 1 year or 2 year introductory rate would be ideal, I think.
So a couple things play into that. One is basically just the complexity of getting payroll on board, and then being able to monitor and track all of those things. And then the other issue is whether or not during an audit it would be perceived, if they're not at a minimum paying for their cost in the union. So basically like the per capita, if they're not even covering the per capita cost of their being in the union during an audit, would that be considered a loan or a payout to members, which are both very legal at this point?
Yeah.
So just bring up a point here. Obviously, our hiring rate is extremely slow. So shouldn't we be focusing on those that are already working for the company? And I think you brought up fine is that, if you're a VFR captain, paying 1% and you're a 92 captain paying 1%, that's a big difference. 92 captains going, what do I get for the difference of that? So would it be beneficial for us to go to a flat rate and try to get the guys that are already with us that have been 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years versus trying to get the ones and twos as they hire? Just a suggestion, just a question.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the guys right now, I don't know of a lot of guys that come to the company like, I'm going to join the union right now. So, I mean, I'm not as concerned with those guys immediately. That being said, I don't think if we look at our numbers, it's probably mostly medium SICs or PICs for the most part, or medium or heavy. So we're probably in that CS or DS. There's a few guys. I mean, we've got a couple of guys that are VFR captains. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what the right answer is.
I got a question, Gordon.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. So a lot of our light ship guys, they're probably somewhere around the AS5 level right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's probably somewhere $27, $28 a pay period at 1%.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's $60 a month, right? And they're not joining. They're saying that's too much money. So is $16 a month really, or a pay period? So that's what, $32. Is that going to be what sways them? That extra $10? I mean,
I think
To
I
me-
may
to
have an
me-
answer, at least a partial answer for that.
Yeah.
I've spoken with a few pilots who are not members yet, and most of them are not talking about the money being restrictive, but instead they don't know what they're getting for that money. So if we can communicate better, if we have a newsletter or something that talks about what we are working on right now for them, then they would be a lot more willing to join, even at current rates.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I don't see in going under what it costs to run, the union on a daily basis, because I just don't really see the change in dues attracting that many more people. Me personally, I think it's just an excuse not to join because it's not a lot of money.
I kind of second that as well. Honestly, from the guys that I've talked to that are on the fence, I think the change in the dues, if it's individuals that are on the fence, of course, I'm only there half the time. I don't know about the rest of them, but it's not tons of guys. I think a change in the dues will give them more incentive, but the guys that are really not on the fence, I'm not sure how that's going to help us with them. I think maybe sometimes it's more of an excuse just in general.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a little bit of say ignorance about, if you say until I sat down and did this, I didn't know what 1% was. And so maybe, during those conversations, discuss it or even changing it to an actual fixed fee of, 30, 40, 50, whatever dollars makes it far more tangible, a number that they can wrap their head around versus just a percentage.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
I do like the fixed fee schedule, and if it was an introductory rate for the fixed fee schedule based on duty position listed at the bottom there, I think that would encourage more people to join up initially, and then if we can really get the message out about what we're doing for them with that money, then I think more people, that would get pretty much everybody who's on the fence.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, any changes that we do make, it's not going to affect any of the incentives that are currently an option for them, right?
No, it all stays the same.
College. Okay.
Yeah, no, it all stays the same. The only thing that this really affects, as long as we can cover what we're sending to the international and we cover our fees, it's how much money is available to us as a local for negotiating, for arbitration, for T-shirts, beer koozies, what have you. So,
Well, that fixed fee schedule, at least at my rate, the CS, it's almost a 50% decrease in dues.
That is significant.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm kind of because the executive board can lower dues by vote. We can't raise dues. We have to do a membership, basically go to all the members and request a fee increase. So one thing we can do is basically play the game the Fed plays. Like, hey, let's try 3/4. Let's try 75%. We're lowering the dues by 25%, which is not insignificant. See where it does with how much money we have on hand and everything else, and see if people are like, oh, well, we're getting some people. Some people are like, yeah, that's better. Maybe they say, it's not quite there, and then it may be other issues. So I think some kind of, because I've heard from a lot of people that dues are an issue. I'd like to give them a little bit of rope to say, okay, it's not really the dues, it's other stuff.
Right. Well, I mean, could it be like we put something out like this that says, just a single slide that says the cost per person is $16. We need, so at a minimum, we're reducing it 25%. So we make our $16 per person, and the union doesn't go in the red,
Right.
And put that information out, and it might come across better. They put some understanding to it.
Are these fees that go to the national and these other respective individuals flat rate, or is it scaled with the
It,
membership?
it's flat rate. So it's, well, let me go back a couple. So yeah, so the it's $13.57 per person, no matter how much you make or anything else. So that's why you can have some places do flat rate, some places do a percentage. So $13.57, the strike benefit, and then the only thing that's variable is that state federation, and then the pro rata share of the fixed costs we have obviously fluctuate with the number of people we have. So.
I don't expect anybody to do on the fly math, but if we were basing this fee schedule on a projected membership rate, would that get around what Ryan was talking about with this potentially having some issues with an audit?
I don't think so, just because if the individual isn't paying the basic minimum of the fees that he's costing every month to be in the union, to get around it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Hey,
I'm just exploring kind of different
Yeah.
avenues here to make the money conversation a little more palatable, like we've been doing.
Okay, we're down to less than a minute for left on the meeting, so I'm going to go ahead and end this right now, and then we'll start it back up and go that rigmarole. So, see you guys back on here in just a minute.
Okay, same link, right?
Yep, same link.
Okay.